news, everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? It's week 4 recap, the fantasy football world here on All in Football, live on BetsTV. As a reminder at the top, as always, code ALLIN, get you 20% off at FTN, where you can catch a lot more of Chris Meaney and his work. Make sure you're following Chris Meaney at Chris Meaney and checking out his show, Mean Streets. And what else? Oh, theathletic.com/BetsTV, all capitals, all those letters. First free month. I don't know why you waited for the end of September for that to happen, and now we're in October. But hey, you get October for free. Halloween gift for you. It's not a trick or a treat. I don't know if you can see. I have the Konami code T-shirts. My new T-shirt. Let me lean this way.
Nice. Yeah, there you go.
Do you know what player I wore this for today, Chris?
Trey Lance?
No. What player did I? Come on, another guess. Come on, what player?
Justin Fields.
Nope.
Jeez, man, I don't know. Taylor Heineke.
There you go, Mr. Konami code himself, Taylor Heineke, running for 40-50.
Yes. Rocking the jersey behind you.
The jersey behind me. No, I mean, of course, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. It's all happening. It's all happening at once after week 4. It looks like. But Taylor Heineke, yeah, Mr. Konami code, the new Mr. Konami code out there, running and throwing 300 yards. Granted, he's facing the Falcons, but is that the biggest takeaway from this week, Chris? It's not Trey Lance. It's not Justin Fields. It's not Taylor Heineke. It's actually Cordell Patterson. Is that the takeaway from week 4?
I don't know, man. Like, this guy keeps doing it again. It's remarkable what he did. I mean, Tino and I were talking before you got on here, and Tino has been in Cordell Patterson's camp now since, I don't know, after week 1 when he kind of showed up. He's like, dude, I'm rocking this guy. But I was talking about him on Mean Streets as one of the most added players. I'm like, just flip him, sell him. Like, he can't keep this up. It's unsustainable because Mike Davis is still getting a ton of touches. But I don't know, man. It's back-to-back weeks now where he has led the Falcons, among wide receivers, right? You got him running back, wide receiver, whatever league it is that you play in. We've already had that conversation. He could be dual, whatever. Just make him one position and that's it. He seems like a wide receiver to me, like 6 carries and playing. What did he play? 23 of 76 snaps.
That's the problem.
3 touchdowns.
20 here, like, jokes aside, yes, it's been fun. Yes, he's been frustrating for the people that drafted Mike Davis for the volume because he's almost splitting the volume, even though Mike Davis was out there for over 50 snaps. Mike Davis isn't touching the ball every single time he's on the field, unlike Cordell Patterson. Here's the parallel, though. It's Rondell Moore. It's not going to work out at some point, and it might be week 5 when it doesn't. It might be week 7 when it does. It might not be very next week, but at some point, this is unsustainable. Obviously, scoring a touchdown on, 20% of your touches, 25% of your touches is unsustainable. This does not work for fantasy. This doesn't work for real life. It's a hell of a lot of fun to watch. It's fun to see Cordell Patterson finally used in the right way after all these years and all this time drafted and kicked around and misused by the Vikings and all that. But that being said, we just went through this if you've learned nothing else, people in the fantasy world out there playing, if you've learned nothing else from this kind of usage, look at Rondell Moore's first 2 weeks and now look at Rondell Moore since. And I say that to only say this, Chris, is there are people in leagues who are going to pay. I know everybody sits there and says, not in my league. It's not going to happen. Nobody's believing it. Blah, blah, blah. I had a friend of a friend who was texting me yesterday morning, showing me his text message chat with somebody in his league who was benching Tyreek Hill because he had done nothing for the first 3 games. And you want to ask him how that worked out for him? You want to ask how benching Tyreek Hill?
Crying. He's crying this morning. He's thinking about just quitting the league.
Right. So if somebody's running back needy and offers you RB2 value, I don't even care if it's low in RB2 value, I'm getting the hell out. It's fun. And you know what? I would love if I'm wrong. I would love if he finishes top 20. Boom, done, wrong, just because of the hilarity of it all. But get the hell out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I get the comparison of Rondell, and you're right. There are going to be some games because Pitts was heavily targeted and Ridley, had a solid game. I still feel like those are the two guys for Matt Ryan first. But, just looking at what he's been getting through the air, I mean, forget week 1. Week 2, 7 targets, 5 grabs. Week 3, 7 targets, 6 grabs. Yesterday, 6 targets, 5 grabs. Like, yes, totally unsustainable, the touchdowns. Like, he's not going to be able to get a touchdown playing, like he said, 25, 30% of the snaps and coming away with 3 touchdowns is unbelievable. But I do feel like he's in line to get 5 or 6 targets every single week with maybe 4 or 5 carries on the ground. So yes, the touchdowns are unsustainable. Yes, I still think I would sell high and tell your league mates like look at this guy. I mean, what is he? A top 5 wide receiver? Like he's just sell everything back. Running back. Sure. Sell him on that point alone. But man, he's going to be part of this offense. And I will say this as well. And I know you liked him. I'm pretty sure you liked him too. Like we liked it a few years ago. You and I've been working for a long time.
Oh yeah.
No, out of Tennessee.
Not
he was drafted.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. By the way, he's the number 2 running
there.
back. If he's at running back, he's number 2, only behind Derrick Henry.
Unbelievable. Crazy. That is the biggest storyline of fantasy football 4 weeks in, is that Cordell Patterson is the number 2 running back in fantasy. But I liked him coming out of Tennessee. He was just really raw. Didn't have a lot of experience. And then in the first few years in the league, it's like, okay, he's just going to be a terrific punt returner, kick returner, and that's it. But credit the Falcons for using this guy. It has kind of cut into Ridley and Pitts this year. But, man, it's I think at the same time, Jake, like, if you have him and he's just your flex, you just continue to roll him out and hope that he can continue to get flex, 10 touches a game.
But it really comes down to is Kareem Hunt with less guaranteed touches, actually less work every single week. Kareem is the pass catching, some of the touches, some of the runs. All right, so I want to bring up Pitts and Ridley. This is now continue, arguably their best combined week, which was still not that great. How concerned should we be about Ridley and Kyle Pitts at this point?
I think really concerned when it comes to Pitts. I think Ridley it's encouraging. Like, I know you said not his best performance, but 13 targets, 7 grabs, 80 yards. That's pretty strong. That's mostly what Ridley was doing last year without, getting a touchdown. But Pitts, I don't know, man. Like, I'll let you take the mic. I mean, this is like your guy. You had some shares. I thought we'd see a little bit more. It's still pretty early. He's only 4 weeks into his NFL career. I said last week to you that I'd like to see Atlanta use him differently. Like, yeah, he's lining out wide, and that's great and all. But when you line out wide, sometimes you got to face top corners. If you want to use Pitts and have him be a mismatch all over the field, why don't you line him up as a tight end in the middle of the field against linebackers? Because he's still a mismatch
against corners.
Yeah, but we're not seeing a lot of success on those throws. We're not seeing Matt Ryan hit him on some of those throws.
No, that's the thing is I'm not putting it on Pitts, and I'm not putting it on Calvin Ridley. I'm putting it on Matt Ryan. Well, that's really what it comes down to.
On the offensive line, put it on Arthur Smith.
Yeah, the Calvin Ridley situation, it was Josh Norris or Evan Silver, somebody like that. I remember seeing it was like one of the guys who used to be at Roto World before they changed to NBC Edge, but had mentioned the fact that Ridley, or maybe it was, I forget now who it was. Anyway, credit to somebody else. Point being is that Calvin Ridley is never the entire career that big of a guy after the catch. Like a lot of his volume in fantasy comes from air target volume. And when he's not getting that with that way that Matt Ryan is playing now, I mean, look at yesterday, completed 25 for 283 for 6.7. On the flip side, 8.8 for Tyler Heinicke. And I think at the beginning of the year, if you said Tyler Heinicke is starting, who's going to have the better air yards and average attempt per completion and all that type of stuff, you would say, oh, it's going to be Matt Ryan, or no question, over Heinicke. And Matt Ryan is basically morphing into Ben Roethlisberger with an arm that still works. I mean, that's what it comes down to, and that's my concern here.
Yeah, I have major concerns with Matt Ryan, and it happened for me. They started immediately week 1. The offensive line. It's nice to have a guy like Pitts, but there were so many holes in that team, especially the offensive line, that they could have addressed. So I don't know really how much this changes. The big takeaway is that at least Pitts is getting targets, right? I mean, we would be talking about him this morning in a different way if he only had 3 or 4 targets. Yeah, sure. I mean, the tight end position is so it's just so weak. Like what? I can't envision a trade that, to get Pitts and I'd feel great about it. Like who are you trading? Dawson Knox? I think I might just keep Dawson Knox.
Let me say this. I'm looking at week 4 so far, And out of the top this big six, because we knew there was the big six this year. It was Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, Hawkinson, Pitts, and who am I forgetting? Because there were six.
Big Dalton Schultz.
No.
I don't Goddard.
No.
Was he in that six?
Else.
There was Kelsey, there was Waller, there was Pitts,
Waller.
Hawkinson,
Thank you.
Andrews.
I skipped past Waller because he hasn't played yet this week. So I was going to say, out of the big six, do you know who the highest ranking tight end so far is for week 4? Out of the big six.
Oh,
no.
Andrews?
Yes, Andrews at 10. 10.
Yeah.
Uzma 1, Knox
I like how
2.
you said no before I answered.
Ali Cox 3, Max Williams. A lot of X's in here. Play tight ends if they have an X in their name. Max Williams, Dalton Schultz, Gesicki, Goddard, Fant, Henry, Andrews. That's what it is. Oh my God, it's awful. Hawkinson was 18, Kittle was 19, Kelsey was 23. It's been Pitts was 16. Pitts was actually the second best one out of all of them. It was a miserable tight end week, and it just goes to the situation of the tight end being that. But I want to talk about Heinicke. Yeah, how usable is Heinicke? Because I'm being serious. I was asked because I do the Washington Huddle show, which covers the Washington football team. I do that locally because they asked me to come on a few years ago, and now it's like a recurring segment for the past couple of years. But he was like, hey, you have Heinicke at 17 or 18, wherever you had him last week. Are you telling me he's usable every single week? I said, absolutely. And 17-18 was too low, Chris. Is Heinicke startable in 12-team one-quarterback leagues?
Yes, actually, I had this conversation with Mayo last week. I had him as quarterback 15. We have him and Sam Darnold in a deep league, league of leagues. You draft the baseball and the basketball as well. And we were back and forth between the two. And we were like, you know what? Heinicke is like, he's got that rushing upside, which you just talked about off the top of the show. I loved the matchup against the Falcons. Yeah, I loved the matchup against the Falcons. I expected the big breakout game from McLaurin, although he had 2 weeks ago, he had, I guess, the big breakout game. A little worried about Logan Thomas, but at the same time, like, you get Curtis Samuel back inside this offense, and he can run. He can run, and he's throwing the football. And I think the big takeaway from all of this with Washington is that the defense is not as good as what a lot of people, I'll say myself, thought. Yeah, I thought this defense was going to be much, much better. A top 5 unit. They haven't looked good. Teams are throwing all over them, and it's making Washington throw the football a little bit more. So, yeah, I think he is a starting quarterback, like a borderline top 12 quarterback, man. If he's going to run, what has he got? The Saints this week. He's got KC. KC has got so many struggles
Saints,
defensively.
Chiefs, Packers, and then at Broncos on Halloween. So you got a while till you have to worry
tough
about
ones
it.
there. Yeah.
Tampa, not worried about. Carolina, not worried about. What happened to their defense? Yeah, that was a good streamer for 3 weeks. Actually 2, because nobody was starting them in week 1. Seahawks, Raiders, Cowboys, Eagles, really? Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys,
the way that they finish. The way that Washington finished is very appealing for fantasy.
I mean, if you're playing week 18 at Giants, but I never saw this before. I never looked at, because I put the schedule into my Excel sheet for the APA, but I don't sit there and look at every single schedule throughout the season. I didn't realize Washington went Cowboys, Eagles at the end of the year. I didn't realize that.
The Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, like really finish up inside that division.
Yeah, but we don't care about the Giants game because that's outside the.
Sure, but I guess it probably won't be.
We don't care. No, we don't
strong.
care. We don't care.
I just mean real NFL. Like the division will be wrapped up by then.
Yeah. So you mentioned Curtis Samuel. I can't believe he was sitting out there as many leagues. You would blow your number 1 waiver priority if you didn't notice or weren't paying attention, right?
Yeah. There's a couple other wideouts I like that you and I feel should be owned. You're surprised with Samuel ownership. I'm surprised that Darnell Mooney is owned in sub 40% of leagues. Emmanuel Sanders is still out there. Jamison Crowder, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. He could get hurt tomorrow, but Crowder's going to be part of this offense when he's healthy. I would take
Samuel over all those.
Okay, I think I would take Emmanuel Sanders over him, but yeah, it's close. It's inside the top 3 or 4 for me.
See, the difference between that is that Sanders and Cole Beasley basically alternate 2 and 3 any given week, and Samuel is the 2. And especially now Samuel doesn't have Logan Thomas, so he's definitively the 2. That's the bigger factor there. All right, Houston, Buffalo. This might be a quick game. Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, the Texans, holy hell, Batman. But on the flip side, as bad as it was for Cooks, I mean, if you're going to tell me that's his floor, like we knew this was going to happen at some point. We knew like it was going to go belly up in our faces because he plays for the Texans. But at the same time, if that's his floor, he was still wide receiver 4 on the week, and we've seen wide receiver 1s get completely goose egged or 1 or 2 fantasy points. I know it's bad. I know it's ugly. Who knows if Davis Mills is even starting next week? But you're not panicking on Brandon Cooks after that game, right?
Well, no, if anybody watched it, like, did you watch the game? It was a complete downpour. And my one experience in Buffalo, it was the exact same way when I went to a game. It was pouring, it was windy, and there was no offense to be had. So I'd like to honestly give Davis Mills and the Texans offense a little bit of a pass that maybe if there was no wind
offense,
or
you
rain.
didn't have to bring in Davis Mills to this conversation.
And don't even really put it on him. He made a couple nice throws against Carolina last week. Like there was even Josh Allen was struggling with throws yesterday in that game.
Facing the Patriots next week.
It was brutal. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's extremely tough spot, but yeah, if that's the floor, 5 catches. I'd like to. I wanted one more selfishly at the over 5.5, but I also didn't think that it was going to be a complete crapshoot. Like the wind and the rain, it was awful there, and I just happened to go up against the Bills. I was. And it just happened to go up against the Bills defense like in 4 of my leagues. So that was fun too. But yeah.
Okay. So I don't think there's anything else to talk about on the Texans. It's still, if you're trying to mess around that backfield, please stop. Speaking of backfields, though, we have a couple of these that we have to talk about today. First being the Buffalo Bills. It was, as Pat Mayo, if you're on his side of things, I'm not calling him out for saying this, but he's on the side. I don't ever want a Bills running back, ever. Josh Allen is that backfield. And then trying to figure it out. And I said preseason, this is what started our huge argument on one of his shows. It's like, give me Zach Moss because he's so cheap this year. And that was my point. It's like last year, everybody went bananas and was way too high on him because of his college breaking tackles. And now that he's getting drafted in the 10th and 11th round, I was like, okay, I'll take Zach Moss now. And that's fine. I mean, I don't want anything more than flex value for Zach Moss. But now Singletary and Moss are doing things most weeks, Chris. Are you in on Moss or Singletary or both? I mean, all we're asking for right here is a flex running back.
Yeah, I'm in on Moss as a flex guy just because I do believe that he is the goal line guy. And yeah, Pat's right to talk about Josh Allen, but I've seen Moss now. It's been, 3 games? He didn't play week 1. He's got, 4 touchdowns? He's found the end zone 4 times. He's among the leaders in red zone rushing attempts. It's a great offense. It's a top 5 offense. And you're going to see, they won't blow out teams like that, but that's 2 blowouts now. They went into Miami and crushed them. They crushed the Texans, where they've actually leaned on the run game in the second half and into the fourth quarter. If that's the case, then Moss may just fall into the end zone here and there on double-digit touches. And that's flex-worthy, man. Like the running back position is absolutely awful. So I'm fine with him. And I think Singletary only got play because they're up 40 points. Like he's going to get play a little bit, but that's it.
Dawson Knox, streamer of the week or more long-term value?
Yeah, more long-term value. Yeah. Talked about him last week and said needed to see a little bit more. Fantastic matchup against the Texans. They've struggled against tight ends and saw it. I don't know about what you think, but when I watch Bills games, Dawson Knox is open at least once, wide open inside the red zone. And it's usually like from the 1 or the 2. And they fake options. The run and he's wide open once a game. There's value in that. The tight end position is so brutal that he may just get 10 touchdowns this year on 35 catches.
So Dawson Knox, top 10 rest of the way. Tight end.
Yeah, top 12.
I mean, you're using him over Tanyan at this point. You're using.
Absolutely.
How about this one? Dawson Knox or Mike Gesicki rest of the season?
Knox.
Okay. And I think that's
Dawson
where,
Knox.
if you're putting him over Gesicki, that he's definitively top 10. So let's talk about another tight end, and let's talk about the Detroit Lions and basically the fact that Hawkinson and Swift both had weeks, really letdowns. But that's 2 weeks in a row for Hawkinson. At least Swift, the previous week, week 3, went ham. The difference here is that Jamal Williams had a big game. Swift had a lot of touches. It just wasn't breaking right out of the gate for Detroit. So I'm assuming your concern level on Swift is low, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm not, what's your concern level around Hawkinson?
Yeah, I'm concerned about Hawkinson. I think maybe just teams are going to really focus in on him. Like, why wouldn't they? That should be the game plan. They try to take away Swift or try to take away Hawkinson. I thought I was getting a little too cute with Tino on Mean Streets on Thursday, giving a Khalif Raymond over 2.5 catch prop. It's like, what am I doing telling people to bet on Khalif Raymond? But I think that's what I saw 2 weeks ago is that Hawkinson was getting doubled. And Goff sometimes, he's afraid of throwing it in tight windows. Like he'll focus in on certain guys, and that was it. Like yesterday, it was a little bit of Khalif and it was a little bit of Quintez. you still roll him out, and you'd like the fact that he got 8 targets. But I mean, I think that was Jake. Correct me if I'm wrong. Heading into the season, when we talked about Hawkinson, we knew the volume was going to be there, but he wasn't going to always be productive inside this offense, and this is the case of it.
Yeah, that's you remember that. I think preseason I was arguing is like why I wasn't saying Pitts over Hawkinson, but it was saying Pitts could be taken at a discount compared to Hawkinson because of everything you just said. It's like, look at their quarterback. It's Jared Goff. And then I even said, let's say Stafford was still there. So I'm going back to say this in case people weren't listening at the time. And so even if Stafford was still the quarterback, let's talk about the NFL and being smart. And if you look at that roster and say, who are we going to stop? My point was, it was the Chiefs' Kelsey without a Tyreek Hill. So why not just do everything you can to take away Hawkinson? So that's where I'm going to go with this, is I'm not buying low, Chris, because and I say that to say, yes, I would buy low if somebody would say, you treat him like Tanyan. But that's my point, is you can't buy low enough on Hawkinson where it makes it a value, because I don't know that he's even top 5 the rest of the way.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not rushing to grab him. Would you trade a Knox and a Cordell Patterson for him? I mean, no. I'd probably just ride. I'd probably just ride with the 2 guys like that.
Well, you didn't let me finish. I interrupted you kind of because you didn't really stop for the question, so we both kind of interrupted each other. But I was gonna say yes because I could get more. Is what I was gonna say. Is I could get Hawkinson and a piece thrown back to me. So I could say,
absolutely.
Well, jokes aside, you're still taking Hawkinson over Knox, right? At least we're going like,
yeah, I am. Yeah,
okay,
I am.
Okay,
but It may, like, just because of touchdowns, and that's silly because Hawkinson will probably finish with 70 more targets than him, maybe 40 more catches. But at the end of the day, like, they actually may both finish pretty close to each other in fantasy because of the tight end position and the fact that, if you get a touchdown, you're right there. Like, Gronk may miss the next 4 weeks and still be a top 5 tight end. We don't know.
Barkley's annoying me right now. She's licking the hell out of her paw. It's like frustrating. Like, there's nothing. I checked her paw earlier. She's like licking and licking. It's the sound of the licking I can just hear. It's the most annoying thing. Let's talk about Barkley. Then we'll switch to that. By the way, we were sitting here watching the games yesterday, and my buddy yelled out, "Yeah, Barkley!" And she jumped up off the couch.
And she jumped. Sure. That must have been a big moment for Barkley. Both Barkleys.
It was the receiving touchdown. It wasn't even the one in overtime. Yes. So, by the way, do you know this? By Dan Dugan tweeted this out by The Athletic yesterday. That was only Barkley's 2nd fumble of his career.
Wow. Yeah,
I know he missed most of the last season, but he got hurt the year before, but he played most of the season in 2019, had his entire rookie season. 2nd fumble of his career. Holy crap, that's a testament to. And he even said it. He goes, "I have no idea what happened. It just slipped out of my hands." And just like, but anyway, I'm saying Barkley going forward. This is easy, cut and dry. Is there's no way on earth you sit Barkley the rest of the season, even if they're facing the Buccaneers on the road in a torrential downpour. Like, there's no Barkley never finds your bench the rest of the way. Correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think we hammered home that point last week, but we didn't love the matchup against the Saints, but we were still starting him as like a top 15 running back for sure. I mean, the guy's a stud. And
well, then let me put it this way: there's no way on earth you put him outside your top 10 at this point, right?
No. Even against the Bucs, like, did they play?
Let me take it one further.
You roll him out.
Let me take it one further. There's no way you drop him outside the top 5, and I say that because how on earth do you rank him behind Aaron Jones? How do you rank him behind Jonathan Taylor? How do you rank him behind? I'm trying to think of other guys like in that range. Like how at Nick Chubb, seeing what Kareem Hunt keeps doing to him. And I love Nick Chubb. You know that. We had a conversation in the preseason that I still took Nick Chubb in a PPR over Aaron Jones. And that's actually paying off so far. But and not that I hate Aaron Jones, but how do you put Barkley behind those guys with all of them having some level of different split shares, concerns, whatever it might be? Barkley is back to being top 5. And that's my point.
Yeah. Sure. I can't argue it. Hunt ticks me off as a Chubb owner because he came in and it was like, man, they ran like 1,000 plays on one drive, especially inside the red zone. They couldn't get in.
It only took 37 attempts from the 5-yard line to get in on the end zone.
My buddy texted me, and we were both on Cleveland, and my buddy texted me, he's like, "What is happening in this Browns game? It's been like 10 minutes off the clock. I see that they've run so many plays inside the red zone. It's like, yeah, they can't get in. Finally in with Hunt, but Chubb still has 100 yards in the grounds. He's fine. But yeah, to your point, yeah, I'm like thinking about my rankings in the rest of the year, like Kamara. I think Eckler, too.
Well, we're going to talk about
Eckler right in there as a top 5 guy. But yeah, we're
Henry Eckler. I would take Barkley over Eckler still. And then
Yeah, super tight. And Zeke is a top 5 back right now too. I'd take Barkley over him, but man, people
are
are
you sure?
crying
I don't
about
know.
Zeke.
Tony Pollard, man, he's Hall of Famer. He should have that job by now. What are you talking about?
I would love to. Everyone watching right now, did you acquire Zeke for pennies like after week 1? Please, like he was the biggest buy low. I talked about it. I tweeted it. Emery Hunt actually retweeted it, so I got a bunch of play from it. And the comments.
That's why I lost.
Like,
that's why I lost followers on Monday Night
ridiculous.
Football last week because I was making jokes about Tony Pollard the entire time and comparing him to
oh my goodness,
to
People
Chuck Norris.
love Tony Pollard.
I know,
People love
I lost like 70 followers doing that about Tony Pollard because I was mocking it. I was just making a point like.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. Zeke looks like an absolute freak. Jake.
Well, we're not talking about that game. Yeah, you're jumping around games. I want to finish this out because I want to talk about the rest. There is the Kamara situation we need to talk about, but also more so Daniel Jones, top 10 quarterback, top 12 quarterback, QB1.
No.
Yes.
There's just too many. There's just too many guys. Like he's right there. You can make a conversation.
He's a
for a lot of
QB1
guys. What are we
though.
doing? Okay, well, who are we bumping out of there then? Like we just talked about Heineke as a QB1. Like I get it, he's close.
I think we said Heineke was top 15. We were. I would take Daniel.
He's gonna have his.
You know, I love to hate on Daniel Jones more than anybody else. Do you know where Daniel Jones is right now in the season?
He's probably top 7. He was 5 like 2 weeks ago.
Just barely. He's 0.1 behind Matthew Stafford, 0.1 in front of Russell Wilson in points per game. Just so you know, points per game. So these are the top 10.
He runs around, which is nice.
Yeah, and that's why.
Who are you taking out of there? Who would you take out of there? It's like you got Mahomes, you got Kyler, you got Brady, Hurts, Stafford, Allen.
I keep trying to set it up, and you keep jumping ahead. I was gonna say, you know what we do? You know what we do when we're trying to figure out where to put them, and you keep jumping all over it. Now I can't even do it at this point. I wanted to make a list, but I can't because you ruined it. You're already halfway through the list.
Man. I know. I'm fired up today. I'm fired up, dude. Let's still make a list. What do we do? Let's make one. Come on. I only rattled off some names. No, let's do it. I'm curious, though. Like, let's figure out where he.
No, I'm just saying you poo-pooed my list. You crucified it. Mahomes, Murray. We know those. Josh Allen. That's 3.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. Yes. Over Daniel Jones. No, so that's 4.
Yes.
Matthew Stafford. Daniel Jones. Stafford.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Russell Wilson. You're still doing Russell Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing Aaron Rodgers?
Ooh, I'll give you Jones over Rodgers. I'll do that.
Okay. How about Dak
That's
Prescott? Close. Still doing Prescott
Yes.
over Jones? Okay.
Yeah.
How about Lamar Jackson? Yes. Still over Daniel Jones? Okay. Now let's go to people who are inexplicably in front of him. Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones?
Man, I'll probably lean Jones there. You're forgetting one, Jalen Hurts for sure.
I'm not done. So
well, now we're getting into borderline dudes.
I was saving Hurts for last. See, you just are trying to ruin this segment now. You're just actively out here just trying to ruin this segment. Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Okay. He's way down there, by the way. Justin Herbert, just so you know, Justin Herbert needs 34 points to tie Daniel Jones in the season tonight.
Wow. I'm really looking at the overall rankings here. Why is Herbert so low? I'm surprised to see that. What happened to him? Week 1 and week 2.
He's not okay. Well, no, he's not. He only has 6 touchdowns through 3 games only. But he's also. I kept saying this for last year. I liked Herbert inside my top 10, but he was at the back end of my top 10. Look at his rushing touchdowns. People overlooked that last year. He scored on the ground a couple times. They were just so.
He did.
So you're still taking Herbert, right?
Yeah, I still am. Yeah.
And we know Hurts. I was saving him for last, but you ruined Hurts. We were going to have a celebration for Hurts, but you already ruined that. So, all right. Now I'm just going to rapid fire. You say yes to any of these. Kirk Cousins.
No.
Derek Carr.
No.
Joe Burrow.
Yes.
You're taking Joe Burrow over Daniel Jones.
I think you've made your point.
Is that we only have 10?
I think he's. Yeah, we have 10. Yeah, you're right. We have 10. If we want to include Herbert in there, that's 11. So yeah, he's.
No, if we want to include Burrow, that's 11. Herbert was already in there. We already included
Herbert was already in there. Yeah, Burrow. Yeah, and Rodgers. I think the big takeaway is I mean, we knew there was going to be some
QB1.
regression.
He's a
but
fringe QB1.
yeah,
This is why people
QB1.
drafted fringe QB1 Daniel Jones last year is because of this. Like last year, and then he had a bomb year. I don't like Daniel Jones, the real life player. Let me make that clear. I think everybody knows that and knows how clear I have been on the fact that I don't like Daniel Jones. I don't like Dave Gettleman. I want this organization to have like a clean sweep. That being said, it's fantasy, and that's what matters. That side of the ball, Kenny Golladay back, Kadarius Toney priority pickup. Question mark?
Yeah, Tony was interesting. Something we wanted to keep an eye on this week is if Colin Johnson was going to be a factor in this offense, and he really wasn't. So Kadarius Toney, what do you have, more yards than Slayton had in any game this year? Played a lot of snaps, ran a lot of routes.
Well, that was the biggest thing.
To see what happens moving forward.
I admittedly, there's one I completely did not see happening. Colin Johnson, I kept saying was going to be on the field, and they didn't. They put him down at 5th and brought back John Ross, and John Ross played outside. And that one completely went outside the window. Apparently, they're not enamored with Colin Johnson. What did Colin Johnson do? Is he just like the most ornery locker room presence ever that the Jaguars are like get rid of you, and then the Giants see and like, hey, he filled in pretty nicely. Let's put him to 5th on the depth chart.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to get some play in this game. Not to the point where I was playing him or playing him in DFS, but I was keeping an eye on this, wide receiver.
So was
and
I.
How that would happen, but it's not there. But what do you do like moving forward when Sterling Shepard comes back? Like, it's nice, Kadarius, you have the future now. It's just basically, I call this his first NFL game. Like, this was really it, where he got some run, he got some play. Last week he got some play, but you're looking ahead at the future. They drafted him pretty early. Shepard's not really a part of the future. It was a nice positive game moving forward, but from a redraft standpoint, what do you think? Because Shepard comes back soon, and then what happens?
He can't. He's not going to overtake Shepard. And then so this is two options. There's two paths that we could go down here. Is Shepard comes back and Slayton, and Tony is kicked back out and has no value. Shepard comes back, Slayton doesn't yet at that point, and Shepard starts playing outside, and then he loses his value. Because Shepard back outside is not good for Shepard. He can succeed at, but it's Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, can play outside, but you don't want him out there all the time. Like at least 50-50, like if nothing else. So I told some people last week, they were saying, hey, I need to pick somebody up. Who do I drop? Blah, 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 blah. And one of them was Shepard. And I kept saying, I don't want to let Shepard go. Let me make that clear. However, if your league doesn't have IR spots, which is stupid, by the way, don't play in leagues like that. But anyway, if you have to, it's my concern as Shepard is that we might have the best value gone because of now what's in front of us, what you're bringing up, the Tony situation. Where's he playing? Is he going to be forced outside? Is the opportunity going to get the volume, all that type of stuff? And now Golladay is showing up on top of it. And so that's my bigger concern. On the other side, the biggest concern I think might be underlying, not looking at what Kamara did box score fantasy-wise, but it's just not that. It's Kamara, nothing in the passing game. I think he had 1 for 10, but it was taken away by a penalty. But he officially comes out of this game with 0 targets. Chris, how concerned are you for Kamara going forward? Because Casey Joyner also wrote an article last week on The Athletic and said, consider selling high, not selling high as in like, I need to get away from him. Let me sell him for Nick Chubb. But if you get pre-draft Kamara value, which is top 4 or 5 running back pre-draft value, you might want to get away from this because he's on pace to break his career high in touches by over 50. That's only if he plays 16 games, let alone 17. And he's worried about his frame. He's worried about him wearing down, even if he stays healthy. Now, like he's not saying I'm predicting injury. He's just saying his type of body, his type of workload, that he could get worn down, especially if they're going to be giving him 20-plus carries every single week. Chris, where are you on Kamara?
Yeah, that's so what? He's got 3 games of 20 carries. Last year, he had 2 games of 20 carries. And I'm just taking a quick peek right now. 2019, he had 0 games of 20 carries. So this is very, very new for Alvin Kamara. There's 2 sides of it. You like the fact that he is getting all that work on the ground. It will be interesting to monitor moving forward if he can't handle like all those touches on the ground and all those carries, because it's just like we haven't seen it. It's been a split committee with Latavius. It's
not to mention, do you know where he ranks in the year at running back? Do you know where he ranks at running back, even with all these touches?
Definitely outside 12.
Not right at 12. He's RB12.
Right at 12.
And that's what I said last week. And somebody was like, "Oh no, you're an idiot because he has all these touches. It should be better." I'm like, "No, he has an insane amount of touches that this is absurd for Alvin Kamara, and he's still not even like last week. He was RB8. He actually fell back. He got passed this week, and by 2 people. So." Let me throw out this rest of season, Kamara. Now, I'm not saying make this trade. I'm just saying rest of season, Kamara or Najee Harris. and you're thinking, no, that you gave me the answer.
I'm thinking
the
about
fact
it.
That, the fact that you thought about it. And that's what I'm saying. For everybody out there, I'm not saying panic, pull the ripcord on Kamara, get the hell out. I'm just saying that's the point, is that when you think about it, now you could go get Kamara and you could probably get Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, plus a boost at wide receiver and like a 2-for-2 or something like that. And that's where I'm saying to get away from Kamara, because especially even if Kamara, because now he's essentially turned into Derrick Henry without the touchdowns, because he's not being used in the passing game. And that's what's really killing it. Forget even the workload, is he's not getting used in the passing game.
Does Henry have more catches than Kamara after 4 weeks?
Do you want to
He
take
had
a guess?
13 catches.
I know the answer.
He had 13 catches after. I think he may.
He does. 14 for 125. Alvin Kamara 10 for 62.
Unbelievable.
He's got 2 receiving touchdowns. Kamara, at least he does.
Yeah, he's had at least 80 grabs in every year of his career. Like, he's not coming close to that. And
Alvin
the Saints
Kamara
offense, when you watch them,
is tied for 25th with Dalvin Cook for 10 receptions at running back.
Amazing. It's not amazing because you want to see him catch some. It is actually, you know what? It is amazing. I just thought, like, there's people
Jeremy
out there that are
McNichols
like, no,
has 15.
I'm Kamara and I'm pissed off. Like, yeah, McNichols. Yeah, he had a big game yesterday, catching a ton of passes. Man, that's crazy. That's something I never, even knowing that, honestly, like, I think a lot of us thought that the production through the air would have to come down, whether it was Taysom Hill or whether it was Jameis Winston. It was just Drew Brees. The splits were there.
We knew it would take a step back.
Over at FTN, I had to have. And we had a small sample of what it would look like with Taysom Hill, now Jameis Winston. They're just not throwing they're running the ball a ton, and you see the carries and the attempts.
No, because we said a step back would be like 60 receptions, which I think was he might get
to 50.
No, I was about to say he's on pace for 40 and change if you include the extra week. So, that's simple math right there. Times 4 is 40. And then you throw in an extra game and it's 42, 43.
And then you may have a couple games like this one where he doesn't even get a target.
Let's talk about your team and the fact that Miles Sanders, by the way, has one more reception than Alvin Kamara. Just let that sink in, everybody, for 1 second. The Miles Sanders lack of use in the passing game. How about Jonathan Taylor? How about Kyle Juszczyk has one more reception than Alvin Kamara?
Wow.
Kyle effing Juszczyk has one more reception. Let's talk about Miles Sanders and the Eagles, because this is the concern we had. I admittedly have said both sides of it, Chris, because all preseason I kept pounding the table and saying the Eagles have told us they don't like Miles Sanders in the passing game. The Eagles don't like Miles Sanders. The Eagles don't want to use Miles Sanders. He's not going to be used in the passing game. It's not going to happen. Pounded that table. Week 1 rolls around. I say, ooh, okay, maybe the Eagles were just masking the fact that they still do trust him. And I even said, I took a step back. I said, still have concerns, but I'm backtracking a little bit, because if they are, this sentence said to you, if they are going to use him like this, he can get top 15 running back value back. The problem is they are not using him like that. It's almost like Josh Jacobs last year of week 1. Like, that was fun for that 1 week, but that was just 1 week of who knows why it happened. Miles Sanders, is he even a top 20 running back the rest of the way?
I don't think so. No, I had him as 23 in arguably the best matchup of the week, because the Chiefs were dead last in rush DVOA defense, according to Football Outsiders. They allowed 5.2 yards per carry, the second most rushing touchdowns. And he finished with 13 rushing yards on 7 carries. He did have 3 catches. He's got at least 3 catches in 3 of 4, but you're right. I mean, they're using Kenneth Gainwell. They drafted him as a nice pass catcher. He was on the field a lot when they were playing from behind. He's on the field third down role. He gets some red zone looks as well. So no, he's not. I don't know what you even do with him. I wouldn't drop him and I wouldn't flip him. If you can flip him in a package deal and you get the best possible player in return, sure, do it. But at this point, you can only play Sanders with confidence when you feel the Eagles are going to roll. And when the heck are you ever going to feel like that? They're not going to be favored in a lot of games.
When they win, that's when Sanders should probably be top 15, honestly. But it's, if you think, I was going to pull up their schedule to see, you might know before I even get to it.
A couple soft games coming up.
So at Carolina, do you think they win? That's a legitimate question. Here's the worrisome part.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Week 6.
Yeah, oh yeah, no chance.
Tampa Bay. There's no. You can't drop them. But here's what I'm saying. I was setting this up for a purposely phrased situation here, Chris. No, sell low. People hate to sell low, but sell low, because if you're looking at the future, at Panthers, Tampa Bay at home, at Raiders, then they get at Lions. That's a month away. we just said it. You want to use them in games that they should win. Maybe they win against the Panthers. Maybe they win against the Raiders. The Buccaneers run defense, even if they win, you're not running against the Buccaneers. Nobody runs against the Buccaneers Nobody.
Nobody even tries.
Sell low because somebody's probably still going to give you low-end RB2 value, which isn't terrible, but it could possibly get worse.
It could. There are a couple, like you said, I mean, a couple appealing games. Vegas, Detroit, even the Chargers teams are running over the Chargers.
At Broncos in there.
Denver's
Saints
tough.
run defense.
Saints tough. Giants is okay. Jets is okay.
Jets,
but yeah,
I mean, it's nice.
The fact that he has 9 carries in the last 2 games, like that's it. That's the big takeaway. Like the dude has 9 touches.
The Eagles go Giants, Jets, Washington, Jets, Washington. They did that with I guess they did that with a lot of divisions this year to see if they could set it up for.
You know what the NFL thought? That this division would be trash again, and in the last 5 weeks of the season, everybody would be in play to win the division, and they wanted to try to make it more exciting.
Oh, it's like get them off TV. You don't even have to worry
or
about
that. Yeah, just forget about it.
Before we get out of this game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, sell high because sure, he's getting touchdowns, which is what we wanted. We didn't want it to come at the expense of touches. He almost a 50-50 split with the rest of that team this week, Chris.
I know. I had tweeted this. I mean, he ends up with over 100 yards, but he got a lot of it late. I was thrilled to get the over 55.5 rushing yards on him because I saw a lot of Williams on the field.
Yes.
It was getting scary. There was like 3 straight drives where he started the drive and he basically finished. Like there was the second drive, I think CEH came in and got a first down on a carry. And then they went back to Williams, and Williams had a red zone rushing attempt, which he converted. So yeah, it is getting a little scary. The way that they started the game though, Jake, was a heavy dose of CEH. It was heavy, much like they started a couple weeks ago and in like limited preseason action. And it made me think like, okay, CEH coming off a strong game against the Chargers. This is a guy that will probably touch the ball 20 times. And he was catching balls out of the backfield too. And then that just went away. Like he had 2 targets, I think, in the first couple series. And then I don't think he got another target again.
No, Davonte Smith. Yeah, finally. But hey,
awesome.
unrealized air yards. Unrealized air yards. I'm going to tweet it out every single week on Mondays and Tuesdays for you guys. It's in the article for you guys. This is a big one to always look at. Davonte Smith was top 5. By the way, it's your second chance. Breeze past that game when we get to it, but the Denver situation, Cortland Sutton is still inside the top 5 and was top 2 this week. It's Sutton, even if it's Drew Lock, get it on Sutton. Before we get out of this game, was there anything else? Oh, Jalen Reagor. You can drop Jalen Reagor at this point? Is it just not happening?
Yeah, it's just not happening. It's Smith and then the 2 tight ends. And you know what? Quez seems to get more looks. They just find a couple of ways to get him involved, whether it's like a little screen or a bubble. So yeah, it's Jalen had a good game a couple weeks ago, but there's no consistency in his game, unfortunately.
All right, let's go back to Dallas and Carolina. Chuba Hubbard looked good. That's fine, but Sam Darnold vulturing all the rushing touchdowns from him.
Man,
so infuriating. So the only thing that I have to say what's going on in this game, Robbie Anderson, slight bit of life in this game. Are you still holding on to Robbie Anderson for one more week? And how aggressively are you buying low on CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, aggressively on CeeDee Lamb, but I will say that the Cowboys now, it's been 3 straight weeks where they've just had a balanced attack and running the football, and they've been. I'm really, really impressed with Dallas. I really am. Like Dak has just taken it to another level. He's not just sitting back and slinging it. And after week 1, I had said the Cowboys are 4-11 when Dak throws the ball 40 plus times. I don't think this is the type of offense. Like it's great for fantasy, it's great for all the weapons, but I don't think that's the type of offense to succeed. The defense is playing better. They're running it down teams' throats. The offensive line is looking good, but yes, I like CeeDee Lamb. But I think, what we saw in week 1 with 14, 15 targets, I don't know how often we'll see that.
Well, he got 9 in week 2, but he has 8 over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they're running. Like I said, they're running the ball with 2 backs.
Tony Pollard.
They look good, and Dak is...
All right, so what about Robbie Anderson?
Dak is checking out. Robbie Anderson, you keep him. I think you could start him now, but he was a hold for me last week. 11 targets is encouraging. You don't drop him, but he's still a flex at best for me.
All right, so I said I'd get some of these questions. We'll squeeze some in here and then rapid fire the rest of these games because most of the rest of these games are kind of more surface level than some of the stuff we've been digging into. But yeah, Kevin, I can actually still hear the doink from Sunday Night Football too, or Saturday. Yeah, Sunday Night Football. I almost said Saturday Night Football. But yeah, that was so great. It was a band kickers bonanza yesterday, especially with those games with the rain and the wind and everything like that. Allen Robinson, We'll bring him into this. This is what we'll do. We'll answer questions and touch on. Oh, we already talked about that game, but let's talk about Allen Robinson. We forgot to talk about the Bears side of it. I jumped right past that. We have David Montgomery injury. We have Allen Robinson, Justin Fields.
That's right.
Chris, come on. I dropped the ball over here. You got to call me out on that. I completely skipped past the Bears. Let's talk about Justin Fields. So Justin Fields at quarterback. He keeps saying, that being Nagy, that Andy Dalton's the starter when healthy. So he still might be going back to Dalton. But what are we doing with Allen Robinson at this point?
Oh my goodness, man. I don't know. Like, it is brutal. He's clearly going to be one of the biggest busts in football. He is. Like, even if it turns around, like, how great is it going to be? He's got 13 catches. 13 catches. He's got 7 catches in his last 2 games. And it's not like he's getting a ton of targets. He's got 13 targets. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
So you're not buying low?
You can buy if you want, but this may just be a complete headache. I'll say this quickly. The only way you could buy is if you have at least 2 solid wide receivers that you like. Buy readjust your rankings, rest of the season rankings. Allen Robinson can only be a wide receiver 3 or a flex play for you. If you're acquiring him to be your best wide, your 1 or your 2, forget about it.
Allen Robinson or Tyler Boyd the rest of the way?
Tyler Boyd, it's not even close.
Not even close, even with T. Higgins coming back?
Not even close. Not even close to me. No chance.
Okay.
Like, I want a better offense in Cincy.
Well, that'll give you some range. How about this one? Allen Robinson or Odell Beckham?
I'd take Odell Beckham.
So, by the way, also top 5 in unrealized air yards, and probably everybody knows that because they saw the one play where, oh my God, Baker, why did you fire? So I know you had to throw it hard because you were worried about the safety coming over for the interception, but oh my God, you have to throw it that effing hard. Like, seriously.
I know.
Oh my God. So we got the Allen Robinson question here. David Montgomery, we'll talk waivers tomorrow, but being out, this is a testament to Damien Williams, and I'm not saying this to victory lap. There's a section of the waiver column that says next man up, and the next man up isn't every single next man up because the Miami Dolphins situation, there is no real next man up. These were high level, like Tony Pollard is technically still next man up, but one of the top ones has been Damien Williams. If there are any of Damien Williams types out there, Daryl Williams, I'm trying to think, like, you could go look through the list. I'm not trying to promote myself and say go, but AJ Dillon, even though he had been disappointing, some people have dropped him. You can't let these guys sit out there for that reason, even if you don't have David Montgomery. Damien Williams, if David Montgomery is out, top 15 running back, yes?
Yeah. We've seen it before. We've seen him be productive before as a guy. Yep. It does sound like he's going to miss some time too, Montgomery, but not significant. There's some optimism.
I like this one. Marvin Jones or Allen Robinson?
Man, with Chark gone for the season, Marvin Jones, like, he's going to get more targets. Isn't it all about volume and opportunity? Like, Laviska was one of the most dropped players last week. This guy's a wide receiver 3 now the rest of the way too.
I was going to say Laviska. You're not taking Laviska over Allen Robinson, are you?
It's close, man. How is it not close? Like, how is it not close? The guy's going to get way more volume. Jags run faster than anybody. They're throwing the football more than anybody. What are we doing here with Allen Robinson? Like, what? Like, he's a great player, but can you trust Nagy? They're going to go back to, if you don't think they're not going back to Andy Dalton, you're crazy.
I know. That's why I'm on Allen Robinson. Because Andy Dalton, as bad as he is, at least he's going to throw a bunch of balls. He's better for Allen Robinson.
Coming up.
No, Chris, here's why. Hold on. Here's why. Justin Fields is better for Mooney. Allen Robinson's better with Dalton, and that's where I'm going with this. Like, he has, and that's why I prefaced this with saying that Nagy has said Andy Dalton's the starter when healthy. Dalton, or even Foles, is better for Allen Robinson. Justin Fields in that arm, as we just saw in that game, Darnell Mooney. Let's put it this way. If you didn't drop Darnell Mooney, because a lot of people didn't, and I said, please don't drop Darnell Mooney. But some people had to, like that, similar to the Sterling Shepard situation. If Mooney is out there, if Justin Fields isn't at quarterback, I'm not super excited. But if Justin Fields is, that's the strength. That's that friggin' cannon of an arm that he just flicks it downfield, and he hit Darnell Mooney with a huge game. So Mooney Tunes, I was like, I still got to get that shirt. I still have to make that, but I have to make that because RotoWare, the NFL will not let you make anything. With the Jacksonville-Cincinnati game, real quick, talked about that. James Robinson, top 15 running back the rest of the way. Carlos Hyde was an inactive.
He was inactive, but he was only inactive because apparently a shoulder thing popped up. I knew Urban Meyer couldn't make that guy inactive just because. But yeah, I mean, he should be a volume opportunity. He's definitely the better back, man. He looks so good. Yeah, definitely top 20. Like, we were talking about Miles Sanders and him. Like, it's not close. Like, he's a rock solid RB2. That's it.
Okay. How about Woods? This is from Noah. Kind of his question. I'm going to bake this into here. Woods or Allen Robinson?
Woods, just give me the better quarterback and the better
No,
offense.
I'm taking Allen Robinson. That one be almost because so it's funny. I said this yesterday on Twitter because immediately I said, all right, he got his touchdown. Can everybody chill out now on Robert Woods? And they're like, no, it came in garbage time. I'm like, oh, God, I hate those leagues that don't let you count garbage time in your fantasy box score. I'm like, those are the worst. But
Those are the worst leagues.
All that being said, it was concerning at that point. I'm not saying this. This is what I said. Let's see if you agree with it, Chris. These things like Allen Robinson, too, we can bring him to this conversation. This is kind of just for fantasy in general. It's perception. Things aren't mutually exclusive all the time. We can be disappointed in Robert Woods. We can be disappointed in Allen Robinson. We can be disappointed with a lot of Miles Sanders. But they can still have fantasy value. Just because you're disappointed doesn't mean these players can't have value. Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, wide receiver 3s going forward. Is that disappointed for what you spent in draft capital? Absolutely. But you're not dropping them, and they can still have value. Miles Sanders, is he a top 15, 20 running back? No. Does he still have value? Yes. You can be disappointed and still have value.
Absolutely. Yeah, you said it perfectly. And that's what I was trying to, relay is that you just adjust the rest of your season rankings. You adjust it. Things happen in the NFL. We're here now. We got 4-week sample size. It's a long season. The window is completely still open on Allen Robinson to get him. If you can get him as your third or your flex, do it. Go ahead and grab him. Just know that he's not a top 10 guy anymore. Unfortunately, just the way it's panned out, but he's still a really good player, and there are going to be some good games.
I see a lot of comments in here. I see all your comments, everybody. I like to answer as many questions, but I'm going to just group all these together. Everybody who said it, nobody really got left out for the Buccaneers. Everybody's like, who gets left out next week? What happened to Chris? There was 50, 60, and 70 yards for their top 3 wide receivers. It was Evans had the top, right? Evans had 70, and then Brown, and he almost had that touchdown. It was the rain. It was the slick ball. Cameron Brate had one that he should have caught. Tom Brady was firing the ball a little too hard to start that game, and I think the commentary, they even mentioned it. But all the point being is, Tom Brady threw 0 touchdowns. You had 70, 60, 50 yards. Nobody really got left out. It's fine. Not every single week is going to be gangbusters. I'm not that worried about the Buccaneers, are you?
No. Brown caught 7 balls. Evans caught 7 balls. Godwin was kind of quiet, but he had 55 yards and 3 catches. That's his floor. 8.5 fantasy points. Yeah, it was just a brutal environment. Yeah, it was just awful.
Cameron Brate, you picking him up to use him going forward? Because Gronk sounds like he's multiple weeks.
I did grab Brate yesterday in a league that allowed me before that game happened as a Logan Thomas owner, but I don't know. I'll probably look elsewhere. I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces there, but I do think he'll get 3 or 4 targets a week.
All right, Alex, I see that. I am saving it for last. Don't look, Chris. Don't look. I saw you look over. Don't look.
I'm not. I won't read it. I won't.
The New England side buying low on Damien Harris because I sure as hell am because face the Buccaneers again. Nobody runs the Buccaneers. I didn't even have Damien Harris as a top 25 running back facing the Buccaneers. That being said, J.J. Taylor's not the answer for James White, probably also because he fumbled the ball. He's now probably dead for the entire season now. But Damien Harris ran the most routes of the running backs. Damien Harris is the guy. Again, that's the answer, right?
Yeah. You and I were texting back and forth on Sunday on who was to start. Heck, I started Javonte Williams over him and Latavius Murray over him because I just did not like the situation.
We're about to talk about that one too.
Texans this week, so yeah.
Latavius Murray, RB2. Are we confident in one game of Tyson Williams inactive? Le'Veon Bell though, first active game and did get touches. How 1 to 10? This is the statement, Chris. 1 to 10. How much you're going to put into it? Latavius Murray is a locked in RB2.
I don't know, confidence level. I would say 7 for that statement. Wow. I think he's a solid flex.
Wow. That's higher than I thought.
I'm a Latavius fan. I probably look like a fool for when they grabbed him. I thought that he could be a low end RB2, and it didn't look like that. But yeah, over the past couple of weeks and seeing Tyson inactive,
it's
clearly
Kryson,
they have.
I tweeted that yesterday.
Yeah. But clearly they have faith in Latavius. He's the better pass blocker, and I don't think Lev has too much to offer.
No, neither do I. Pittsburgh, Juju Smith-Schuster, really nothing again.
Oh my goodness.
And then that's with no Claypool or Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm assuming. Yeah. All right. Put it this way. I've seen these questions because they were already popping up last week in the comment sections of the articles. Chris, would you drop Juju Smith-Schuster?
I wouldn't drop him.
Is this one of those names? Strip the name off the jersey?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is Holy crap! Like we don't have enough time to get into Juju. These guys he had one really, really good season with Antonio Brown there, and now it's just been like it's just too much hype when it comes to Juju. I'm shocked that he didn't take a contract offer from KC.
Are you telling me
it's just a mess?
Are you telling me it's bad Juju, Chris?
Yes, I'm telling you, it is bad Juju. I don't know, man. What do you do? Like he's
another
guy that you could buy low, but whatever.
Okay, I need sunglasses for that one. I need to find some. Randall Cobb. Are you going more after Randall Cobb or Alan Lazard on waivers? This is for tomorrow's show, so you can give me the quick version because tomorrow's the waiver show.
I would rather go at Cobb, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot more. I got waiver wide receiver.
I said
rankings.
quick
There's
version.
Like 10 other
quick
guys.
Version.
10 other guys. I'd rather have Van Jefferson than him.
All right. Seattle, San Francisco. Sermon, confidence level 1 to 10 that he is the guy after 2 straight weeks because there's still no Elijah Mitchell being healthy.
Yeah, I don't know, like 5 or 6, right? It's
that's honestly like a 10 for most backfields when you're talking about
flip a coin is what it is. Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk, I will admit, I had way too high. Everybody, I'm sorry for thinking Brandon Ayuk was definitively back and healthy and basically left out because Trent Sherfield got on his heels. Are you dropping Brandon Ayuk? Who would you rather have, Brandon Ayuk or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Oh my goodness, probably Juju, but just because he plays a little bit more and he's got a role inside the slot. It's also what we didn't talk about is Trey Lance. He didn't look good yesterday, but he had 20 fantasy points.
We're in this game where I was gonna
one half.
Man, you were just killing my setups today. You're just destroying everything because I was gonna say
I get excited to talk to you on Mondays, dude.
I see that. I see. You just want to like crap on everything. This is Chris coming in on Mondays just.
Got a lot of sleep last night. I hadn't slept in like a week with the hockey draft. I think I slept 8 hours.
I must see that because I was going to say before we get out of here, we didn't have time for the Indy Miami game. Taylor looks good. Gaskin. Oh, real quick, the Dolphins backfield. Just get the hell out of that one.
Oh my goodness, what is up with Gaskin? He's not even getting any touches. Jake, come on, he's way better than Malcolm Brown.
Well, it doesn't matter when the team doesn't think so. Minnesota had a huge down game. Conklin still streamer. Thielen, Thielen's going to have better days. Dalvin Cook's going to have better days. Tennessee and the Jets. Michael Carter time. Yes, it's still happening. Slowly, it's happening.
Yep, it is. I'm with you on that one. I've been with you all year on that one.
Jeremy McNichols have PPR value at this point?
Yeah, kind of like maybe a J.D. McKissick and a Gainwell.
At least until they get Brown and Julio back, which sounds like both of them week 6. They're wait past week 5 at the earliest, so you might have to wait on that one. Arizona, the Rams, Connor and Edmonds. Oh my God, Connor is the most frustrating goal line vulture in the history of forever because he's like, everybody's like, oh, he's LeGarrette Blount. I was like, people forgot LeGarrette Blount almost had 1,200 yards that year and 300 carries.
Yeah, he did.
He wasn't averaging 40 yards per game. Edmonds and Connor, frustrating backfield. DeAndre Hopkins, buying low? Question mark.
Yeah, for sure. Edmonds looks awesome. I wish he'd get more touches, but yes.
That's not going to happen. I said that before. I didn't expect this for Connor, but I said they should have been back to back. I did 100,000 billion% on that one. Daryl Henderson, before we get back to your game, as we get out of here, Daryl Henderson, top 15 rest away.
Yeah, that was very encouraging for Henderson supporters. I know you're one. The fact that it was just his backfield again. Yes, very encouraging.
Also, yes, one of the 4 running backs with over 80% of the backfield. And his game back being questionable the entire week after Sonny Michel looking half decent the week before.
That's the kicker.
Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins rest of the season. We didn't say Cousins. No, I'm bringing that up because we didn't.
I know we didn't. It's really close. Cousins playing really good football. I'll go with Jones with the rushing upside, but I think if you have Cousins, don't worry about yesterday. Cleveland's really good, especially defensively.
There you go. All right. So that's what I wanted to say this before we get out of here. I was going to let you have your time. Trey Lance is the quarterback for the 49ers because Jimmy Garoppolo, multiple weeks. Jimmy Garoppolo's probably not coming back to a job at this point. Let's be real. Like they could say the Nagy Shanahan could pull the same thing. He's the starter when healthy. But unless Trey Lance goes belly up these next 2 to 3 games, Garoppolo's probably not. He is getting Wally pipped for all intents and purposes. Trey Lance, a QB1, Trey Lance or Daniel Jones going forward. This is your boy, Chris.
Yeah. It's Lance, but again, like you can make a lot of cases for these quarterbacks to be in that 8 to 15
I know,
range.
but I'm asking you to pick between the two.
Yeah, I will pick Lance, but it may not be the smartest pick, Jake, because who knows with Shanahan. But I do agree. Like, Garoppolo's going to miss some time here. You got Arizona this week, and then you got to bye, so you have some time to get him going. It's just watching that game yesterday with Jimmy Garoppolo. They're just so limited on offense, and this is why they moved up to get him. And now Shanahan has that free pass. Like, he probably didn't want to make the switch because they're winning football games, and Jimmy G was still making things happen with his arm. But now the fact that that injury has happened, he can go ahead and just transition and make it. And for Trey Lance, like, yeah, he didn't look great. He was 9 for 18, 157 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns, but he still has 24 fantasy points, and he played a half, right? So that's kind of the upside that he does have.
And I'm going to say this is why I am still not, what did you say, a 6, I think, on the backfield for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to lean to a 7.5 on Trey Sermon because I tweeted this during the game. We talked about it on the show, so we'll get out of here on. Trey Sermon in college played very little with a quarterback under center. And I said Trey Lance could help. You remember this, Chris. I said Trey Lance could actually help Sermon.
Yeah.
And the door's been open. Elijah Mitchell missed another week, and you saw how good Sermon looked with the quarterback not under center. This is a big thing. We broke it down in depth for a couple of weeks here.
Yep.
I am going to say 7.5. Sermon now has that backfield, and Elijah Mitchell is going to have to do a hell of a lot to take it back. Now, I'm not saying Elijah Mitchell is not going to take touches because that is the Shanahan way, but I would say 7.5. That is Sermon's backfield. That is Chris Meaney. Make sure you follow him at Chris Meaney. Check out his work on FTN, and make sure you check out Mean Streets. Great show. And if you want to bet in hockey, it's coming around and make some money. Just make sure I'm not making those picks. Just check with me. Make sure I didn't take Chris Meaney's picks because I'm just going to jinx them. 20% off code all in at FTN. TheAthletic.com/BestTV, all capitals. And please, thumbs up, subscribe, rate, review. We're still trying to grow this. We appreciate it. We love you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow for waivers with Lauren.